I don't think that's the case with this book. Hello everybody! Welcome back. I am Catherine, and today I have a review for Not That Kind of Girl by Lena Dunham. It took me 3 or 4 times getting this audiobook from the library before I was actually able to finish it. And that is simply because it was a time constraint, because all the other times it expired before I actually started it. Yeah. However, I am really, really, really happy the fact that I was able to listen to this book and read it and be immersed in it for the couple days it took me to finish it, because it was awesome. In Not That Kind of Girl, Lena Dunham does what Lena Dunham does best, and she does not hold back anything. From bodily function accidents to horrific sex stories in university to death in the family and being in Hollywood, being a child, being adult, Lena Dunham talks about pretty much everything in her life, which I really, really respect about her, because a lot of this stuff, most people wouldn't want others to know about it. I went into this book not really knowing exactly what I was going to get from it. I remember when the book first came out last year, there was a bit of controversy about childhood molestation between Dunham and her younger sister, specifically referring to a scene where Lena Dunham is explaining her fascination with the vagina, because she's had also a lot of vagina problems herself, and looking at her sister's vagina when her sister was like 1 and she was like 6 or something, to see if they were the same. Personally, I see that as just simple childhood curiosity. I mean, if anything, it was a good thing, because it turns out her sister was shoving pebbles up her hoo-ha and her mother had to remove them. So, yeah. I really enjoyed the fact that this book was so openly raw for the reader. I mean, it seems as though Dunham did not hold anything back. She definitely doesn't seem to have curbed any of her language or the stories that she was telling, with the reader in mind, thinking like, oh, maybe this went a bit too far for some people. It's very blunt, it's very to the point, and it's a very much a retrospective on how normal lives for girls are. I could totally relate to a lot of what was being said, whether it was like the relationships or the sex or the friendships or family or death or life and all of that stuff. I mean, I think that there's something in this book that almost anyone, specifically a female, but anyone can really relate to how their own life has gone in some way. I can, however, see where this book wouldn't necessarily be for everybody. Personally, I watched the first season of Girls and I really enjoyed it. I have the second season to watch, I just haven't gotten around to it. I found as though it was very much the same way that the TV show is. It's very no holds barred, nothing's off the table, nothing's taboo. And sometimes, yes, it maybe went a little far for some readers' personal wants in a book, and that's totally okay. It's definitely the type of book that you need to go into making your own decision about reading it and being open-minded, but also realizing that some of this shit is really intense and it's definitely going to anger some people. I know that the reasons I like this book are going to be the exact same reasons that other people don't like this book, and that's perfectly fine. Honestly, we're all entitled to our own opinions, and that's cool. One thing that I didn't necessarily like about this book was the abundance of lists. Now, some are really actually entertaining, some are very informative, and some are very eye-opening to the author, but there were ones like where she listed what she ate that I honestly skipped through. Like, I kept hitting that 15-second button until the list was over. And then another list would come and I would do the same thing. I understand where it was coming from within the book. It was in relation to Dunham's OCD tendencies and her need to write stuff down and all of that stuff. I did find it really interesting, just not the actual list where she's listing her food that she had eaten for the day. Yeah. I find that reviews on Goodreads of this book are really down the line. Some people take the stance that she did abuse her sister as a child, which personally I don't see that as what was happening. Some people don't like the way that she's so self-entitled and the fact that she had a very privileged upbringing and oh, woe is me attitude. I take the stance that it was very honest. I mean, we all have our ups and our downs, and I thought it was very, not brave, another word for brave, but a very honest expression of Dunham's to write down this book. There were times where, I mean, she even said it herself that she's an unfaithful narrator, and there were times that I questioned, you know, whether or not she was embellishing a little for some things. Not so much stuff that pertained to her directly, but stuff that pertained to other people. So, I mean, there was some give and take with this book, but I did ultimately really, really enjoy it. I wouldn't necessarily read anything else by Dunham in this same kind of line of work, but if she ever came out with something different, I would definitely give it a go. So like I said, definitely go into this book with an open mind. However, do your research on it first, because it does garner two very polar opposite viewpoints on it. Read some reviews on Goodreads that are not just mine. Read some negative ones and some positive ones, and decide for yourself whether or not you think you would like this. And it's okay if you don't. I mean, not everyone likes the same things as everyone else, because that would be a very boring world. However, just make sure you are very open-minded and you kind of think of where all of this is coming from. So that's it for me on Not That Kind of Girl by Lena Dunham. So let me know in the down bar what you thought of it, what you think you might think about it, or if you think you'll ever actually read it. Just leave the comments down below and let's get a conversation going, okay? So until next time, guys, happy reading.